The status of Hassan Reddick, one of the biggest headlines heading into mandatory minicamp this week for the Jets and Giants. The Jets' newly acquired pass rusher was a no-show at voluntary workouts. This week, he's required to be there, but he wants a new contract. And yesterday, he turned down an interview request from Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post. So we figured who better to ask about that than the man himself. Ryan joining us tonight. Thanks for the time, bud.
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. You've been covering the Jets and Giants all offseason, so tell us about your face-to-face interaction with Reddick and the latest on his contract situation.
Yeah, I drove 90 minutes down to Camden and 90 minutes home for him to say, no, I don't want to do any interviews. But you know what, Joe? I got something out of it because he wore a Jets T-shirt. And I guess this is what we do now, right? We read into everything. He could have put on any shirt he wanted that morning. And he got up and he went to this family fun day in his native Camden, and he had a Jets shirt on and his mom had a Jets shirt on. So to me, that tells you that they looking forward to the future, embracing it. Obviously, he didn't go to voluntary practices, but he didn't say he'd be at mandatory minicamp. I gave him multiple chances to say it. He didn't. But if he's representing the Jets at a community event and answering questions from kids about the Jets, then I think he realizes he's playing for the Jets, and he'll probably be there this week.
All right, he lost $250,000 by not showing up to those voluntary workouts. He could lose another $50,000. Do you think they work out a new contract before the season starts?
I'd be surprised. I mean, he obviously wants one. Maybe they kick him some incentives. That's usually what happens in this situation. It's what happened with the Giants and Darius Slayton. But this is a contract they inherited from the Eagles. The Jets are really on a win now this year timeline for both the head coach and the general manager. So investing beyond that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They have a guy who, needs to play for a new contract. You usually get the best out of guys when they do that. So Reddick understands the deal. It's a business. He'll probably go out, give it all, probably have a big year. And if it translates to wins for the Jets, then he'll be knocking on their door with leverage.
Hopefully he could fill that hole left by Bryce Huff, who, of course, went over to the Eagles. All right, one guy who has been there at OTAs is Aaron Rodgers. I know it's tough to tell much when the players are wearing shorts, but what's your take away from Rodgers so far and his rehabbed Achilles?
That he looks really sharp. I mean, you can't even tell. He's moving around out of the pocket, getting flushed. And like you said, they're in shorts. There's no pass rush. There's no fear of being hit. Everything changes when that happens. But he's as sharp as ever. He's moving around well. No limp, really. The no-look passes, obviously, are what gets people going on social media. But it's all the other passes, the crispness of the deep ball to Garrett Wilson, to Xavier Gipson. It looks like he has good chemistry with the receivers, considering he hasn't thrown to them in whatever it is, 8 months or so. So, no, I think you're getting Rodgers. As long as he stays healthy, I expect you're getting a top Rodgers this year.
Now we just got to make sure the Jets' offensive line can protect him once there is actually a pass rush there. All right, over in East Rutherford, the Giants, they got some news they've been waiting for on Darren Waller, the tight end, announcing his retirement on social media. So what's the impact on the Giants going forward here?
They lose one of their best playmakers, and that just keeps happening to the Giants this offseason. Malik Neighbors has been fantastic in OTAs, but this is a team that was 30th in offense last year and lost Saquon Barkley, their best playmaker on that team, and Darren Waller, their second or third best playmaker on that team. And people can downplay the impact of losing Waller all they want. He was playing really well before his hamstring injury. We know it's in there, and now they don't have it, so they'll be turning to either Daniel Bellinger, who's been a starting tight end before as a rookie in 2022, or Theo Johnson, who's a rookie now. It's one less bona fide weapon for Daniel Jones, and I don't think you can downplay that just because Waller was injury prone. 12 games out of Darren Waller would have helped this team.
All right, you mentioned Neighbors, obviously. We were both out there when he was making some plays at OTAs. There's a lot of excitement, at least internally, around this Giants offense. What are your thoughts, obviously, now that Waller and Saquon Barkley both out here?
My thought is Garrett Wilson from the Jets set the record for most targets for a receiver in the first 2 years of his career, and Malik Neighbors is probably going to break that record if he stays healthy. That's my thought, is like the Giants need to throw the ball to Malik Neighbors as early and as often as possible during his rookie year. That's the path to competitiveness. He's got that Odell factor of take a quick slant and hit a home run on it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Odell versus the Ravens. It's one of the best plays of his career, and that's what Malik Neighbors can do. He can take a 10-yard play and make it a 60-yard play. They haven't had that since probably Saquon Barkley pre-ACL, and they certainly haven't had that at receiver since Odell Beckham. Darius Slayton can hit the big play downfield on the bomb, but Malik Neighbors can rack up the yards after catch, and that's what takes a 30th ranked offense into the top 15.
Well, and much like the Jets, we'll see if the Giants can provide some protection up front for Daniel Jones in this case here. Ryan Dunleavy, always a pleasure to have you on. Check out his work with the New York Post. Thanks for the time, bud.
Thanks for having me.